There is a moment after someone walks away when every part of you wants to follow. You want to send one more message, make one more call, ask one more question, explain yourself one more time. Maybe if you say the right words, they will understand. Maybe if you show them how much you care, they will come back. Maybe if you fight hard enough, you can change their mind. But Stoic philosophy asks you to consider a painful possibility. What if the strongest thing you can do is nothing? What if the person walking away is not asking to be chased? What if their decision is already an answer? Marcus Aurelius spent much of his life learning one of the hardest lessons a human being can learn. You cannot control another person's mind. You cannot command their affection. You cannot force loyalty. And you cannot make someone choose you. But you can choose what happens to your dignity when they don't. So if someone decides to walk away from you, remember this. You may love them. You may miss them. You may wish things were different. But never abandon yourself trying to stop someone else from abandoning you. Number 1. The instinct to chase. When someone leaves, something powerful happens inside the mind. Loss creates urgency. Suddenly, the person who was available yesterday feels more valuable today. You remember the good moments, the conversations, the laughter, the plans you made together, and your mind begins editing the past. The arguments become smaller. The disrespect becomes easier to excuse. The problems that once seemed serious suddenly appear fixable, all because the person is leaving. This is where you must be careful, because fear of losing someone can make you forget why the relationship was struggling in the first place. You are no longer asking, is this relationship healthy? Instead, you're asking, how do I stop them from leaving? Those are very different questions. Stoicism teaches us to examine our judgments rather than blindly obey our emotions. The feeling of panic is real, but panic is not proof that you should chase. Sometimes, panic simply means you are experiencing loss. Let yourself feel it, but don't let it make your decisions. Number 2. You cannot negotiate genuine desire. Think about what you're actually asking for when you chase someone who has chosen to leave. You are asking them to choose you. But if someone must be persuaded again and again to stay in your life, what exactly have you won? Their presence? Perhaps, but not necessarily their desire to be there. There is an enormous difference between someone staying because they genuinely want you and someone staying because you begged, pressured, convinced, or emotionally exhausted them. Stoicism is deeply concerned with reality, not the reality we wish existed, the reality that actually exists. If someone wants to be with you, their actions should eventually reflect that. If someone repeatedly chooses distance, their actions are also telling you something. Listen, this doesn't mean relationships should be abandoned after one disagreement. People become confused. People become emotional. Healthy relationships sometimes require difficult conversations and reconciliation. But reconciliation requires two people. You cannot repair a relationship alone. You cannot carry both sides forever. At some point, you must stop asking, "How can I make them stay?" and start asking, "Why am I trying so hard to keep someone who keeps choosing the door?" Number 3. The Stoic Circle of Control. Epictetus began his teachings with a distinction so simple that it can change the way you experience almost everything. Some things are within your control, others are not. Your choices are yours. Your character is yours. Your actions are yours. Your response is yours. Another person's feelings? Not yours. Their loyalty? Not yours. Their decision to stay? Not yours. Their decision to leave? Not yours. Most suffering begins when we try to control the second category. We analyze their messages. We monitor their behavior. We try to predict what they are thinking. We search for the perfect sentence that will somehow unlock their emotions. But you're trying to enter a room that belongs to someone else. Their mind. You don't live there. Return to what belongs to you. Your response. Your standards. Your future. This does not immediately remove the pain, but it removes the helpless struggle against reality, and that is where freedom begins. Number 4. Don't turn love into self-abandonment. There is nothing weak about loving someone. There is nothing embarrassing about missing someone. There is nothing wrong with wanting a relationship to survive. But love becomes dangerous when preserving the relationship requires destroying yourself. You stop expressing your needs because you're afraid they'll leave. You accept behavior you once considered unacceptable. You apologize for things you didn't do. You constantly prove your value. You become smaller so they will feel comfortable staying. Eventually, you're no longer protecting the relationship. You're sacrificing yourself to it. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that character matters more than approval. That principle applies here. If keeping someone requires you to betray your values, lose your dignity, and live in constant fear of abandonment, the price is too high. Love someone, but remain yourself. Care deeply, but keep your standards. Try to repair what can be repaired, but don't crawl after someone who has already decided that your presence is optional. Number 5. Don't chase closure either. Sometimes you're not chasing the person, you're chasing an explanation. Why did you leave? When did your feelings change? Was there someone else? Did I do something wrong? You imagine that if you could just understand everything, you could finally move forward. Sometimes an honest conversation does help, but closure becomes dangerous when you make your peace dependent on another person's willingness to explain themselves. Because what if they never give you the answer? What if their explanation makes no sense? What if they lie? What if they simply say, "I don't know"? Will you remain trapped forever? Stoicism offers another form of closure. Acceptance without complete understanding. You don't need to understand every reason behind another person's decision to accept that the decision happened. Sometimes the ending itself is the closure. They chose to leave. You don't need another 100 conversations to recognize that reality. Number Number 6. Stop romanticizing the person who left. After someone leaves, memory becomes selective. You remember the beautiful days. You remember their smile, the places you went, the nights you stayed awake talking. You remember how safe they once made you feel. But somehow, you forget the uncertainty, the arguments, the nights you couldn't sleep, the moments you felt unwanted, the promises that weren't kept, the effort that wasn't returned. Your mind isn't necessarily lying to you. Those beautiful memories may be completely real, but they are incomplete. Stoicism asks us to see things as they are, not as nostalgia paints them. A relationship can contain beautiful memories and still need to end. A person can have wonderful qualities and still be wrong for your life. You can miss someone without needing them back. That distinction is important. Missing someone is an emotion. Returning to them is a decision. Don't confuse the two. Number 7. Let distance give you information. When someone walks away, don't immediately fill the space they created. Let the distance exist. Silence can reveal things that constant communication hides. You may discover how exhausted you were. You may realize how much anxiety the relationship created. You may notice that you were doing most of the emotional work. Or perhaps you will recognize your own mistakes more clearly. Distance isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's perspective. Use it. Ask yourself difficult questions. Was I being respected? Was I respecting them? Were we actually compatible? Was I happy? Or was I simply afraid of being alone? Did I love this person? Or did I love the feeling of being chosen by them? These questions require courage, but they can teach you far more than another desperate message ever will. Number 8. Do not perform your pain. There is another temptation after someone leaves. You want them to see what they lost. So you post constantly. You show yourself having fun. You show the gym, the restaurant, the trip, the new clothes. Maybe you even try to make them jealous. But if everything you're doing is secretly designed for one person's attention, you haven't moved on. They're still controlling you. They're simply doing it from a distance. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly reminded himself not to perform virtue for an audience. Do good because it is good. Improve because improvement matters. Train because your body matters. Work because your future matters. Live because your life matters. Not because you hope someone who left will eventually look back and regret it. The goal isn't to make them regret leaving. The goal is to reach a place where you no longer need them to. Number 9. Turn pain into discipline. Pain creates energy. The question is where you send it. You can send it into obsession, checking their social media, reading old messages, imagining them with someone else, replaying conversations. Or you can send that energy somewhere useful. Train, work, study, build, create, reconnect with people you've neglected. Fix parts of your life that you've been avoiding, not as revenge, not as a transformation designed to win them back for yourself. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes practical. Adversity becomes training. Loss becomes perspective. Pain becomes an opportunity to strengthen character. You did not choose the loss, but you can choose what the loss produces in you. Number 10. Accept that some people are temporary. This may be one of life's most uncomfortable truths. Not everyone you love is meant to remain beside you forever. Some people enter your life for years, some for months, some for a single season, and sometimes someone who once seemed permanent becomes a memory. Marcus Aurelius reflected constantly on change. Everything around us is moving. Bodies change, cities change, relationships change, we change. Suffering increases when we demand permanence from a world built on change. This doesn't mean relationships are meaningless. Quite the opposite. Their impermanence makes them valuable. Appreciate people while they are present. Treat them well. Say what needs to be said. Love honestly. But don't confuse love with ownership. Nobody belongs to you. People remain because they choose to, and that choice must be free. Number 11. What if they come back? Sometimes the person who walked away returns. Maybe after a week, maybe months later. Suddenly your phone lights up. I've been thinking about you. I miss you. Can we talk? Be careful. The fact that you missed someone does not automatically mean they should return to your life. Before answering emotionally, remember what happened. Why did they leave? What has changed? Have they changed? Have you? Are they returning because they genuinely understand what went wrong? Or because they're lonely? Do not punish them. Do not play games. But don't abandon your judgment either. Stoicism is not about being cold. It is about seeing clearly. If rebuilding makes sense, rebuild slowly. Let actions prove what words promise. And if nothing has changed, understand that reopening an old door may simply recreate an old pain. Number 12. The most powerful response. So what should you do when someone chooses to walk away? First, communicate clearly. If there is something important to say it once. Be honest. Be calm. Don't hide behind pride. But after you've spoken, stop chasing. Let them decide. If they choose you, let it be because they genuinely want to stay. If they choose to leave, let them experience the freedom of that choice, and give yourself the same freedom. The freedom to stop convincing. The freedom to stop waiting. The freedom to stop checking. The freedom to begin again. There is enormous dignity in saying, I wanted you in my life, but I will not force you to be here. That is not weakness. That is not indifference. That is acceptance. Number 13. Walk forward. One day, you will realize that you haven't checked their profile. You haven't wondered where they are. You haven't imagined what you could say to bring them back. And perhaps something unexpected will happen. You will feel peaceful. Not because the past disappeared, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally stopped fighting reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote his reflections to remind himself that life is happening now, not yesterday, not inside the future we imagined with another person. No, and your life is still happening. There are mornings you haven't seen, people you haven't met, conversations you haven't had, places you haven't visited, versions of yourself you haven't become. Don't miss all of that, because you're staring backward at someone who chose another direction. If someone walks away, you don't have to hate them. You don't have to punish them. You don't have to prove anything. You can simply let them go. Wish them well if you can. Learn what the relationship taught you. Keep what was good. Understand what was painful. And walk forward. Because the strongest person is not the one who can make everyone stay. It is the one who knows they will still be standing when someone leaves. Never chase someone who has chosen to walk away. Not because you are too proud to love them, but because love without freedom becomes possession. And love without self-respect becomes self-abandonment. Let them make their choice, then make yours. Choose your dignity, choose your peace, choose your future, and keep walking.